The intended use of this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the host and guests independently, and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Updog Challenge Incorporated, its sponsors, or any other partnered organizations. Updog Challenge Incorporated does not guarantee the accuracy or reliability of any opinions expressed. In no way should the information provided during the Sweet Spot and Updog podcast be considered veterinary, medical, legal, or professional advice. At all times, the advice of your personal professional should supersede any information provided, derived, or inferred from listening to this podcast.
Ready, set, go.
Welcome to the Sweet Spot, an Updog podcast. I'm Andre Morissette.
And I am Jack Staley, and we are here today to talk to you about our experiences. Dre, can you be more specific? What about our experiences are we going to talk about?
We're going to be talking about our UPDIF experience. So this is our first week back returning home after UPDIF. And Jack and I were discussing what we were going to talk about in today's podcast. And both of us agree that we would love to go through day by day what the UPDIF experience was for us. So I'm definitely really excited to kind of process all of that and run through it. And I'm excited to hear what Jack also did.
Yeah, be a little bit of a recap. Some of it, if you were at UPDIF, some of it will not be a surprise to you, although you'll hear it from kind of mine and Dre's perspective, which might be interesting to you guys. You get a little bit of the behind the scenes view. And if you weren't at UPDIF, well, then you get to hear all about everything that happened and all the fun stuff that occurred. And hopefully next year, if you didn't make it this year, hopefully next year you will be able to be there with us. Next year, by the way, is in Decatur, Alabama, which is a site that we have been to before. It's a really nice site. It's a soccer complex. Grass is great. Real bathrooms. We've
Concrete
got
buildings,
nice
stage.
nice award venues. There's a stage at the field.
Campground is walkable, and you can rent golf carts, and you could ride around on a golf cart all week. It's so fun. I loved that facility. And before we even left Tanglewood Park, I was saying how excited I am to be at Alabama next year. So really, really excited for that one. We didn't release the
Kat,
dates
what
yet,
were the
did we?
dates again?
April.
I know what they are, but I don't know. It's April. I don't know. Are we releasing those now?
Well, we told everybody at UPDIF. So
Okay, so it's the 7th through the 11th.
the April 7th through the 11th is next year's.
Convenience store up there. 7-Eleven.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Now we'll remember.
Now we'll remember it. It's a convenience store. Best place to get breakfast in Japan. 7-Eleven.
All right. That's an odd fact. All right. So UPDIF for us started on we got there, was it Saturday night, Kat?
Yes.
Yeah, we got there Saturday night before UPDIF. We had a very stressful ride there. Real quick, interesting. Well, this was maybe it's interesting, but we had we pull a 26-foot cargo trailer behind a pickup truck, and when I say we, I mean Cody, my nephew, and our sound and lighting guy that you guys probably, if you've been to UPDIF, you probably know Cody or know who he is anyway. And anyways, he's driving, and before we left, he's like, we should really get one of those TPMS sensor kits so that if something goes wrong, like if a tire starts leaking, then I know right away and I can pull over. Because last year we had a blowout, and luckily he was able to get off the interstate before the second tire on that trailer blew, and then that'd be bad on an interstate. So anyways, so we get the TPMS system. We are, I don't know, 6 hours down the road, and his TPMS system goes off, letting him know that one of the tires is deflating quickly. He pulls over to the side, and it wasn't a hole in the tire. It was a valve stem that had started leaking. And so luckily we had some folks with us, Stephen and Melanie Smith, And Steven does like a whole bunch of like tire repair and switching out tires for winter travel in Canada and stuff like that. So he's like Mr. Frickin' Pit Crew. He jumps out with like his 3.5 ton floor jack, pops it up right on the side of the interstate. They swap out the tire and they literally did it in like 7 or 8 minutes. Like they timed themselves and they were like back on the road in 8 minutes. I was like, holy crap. So anyways, that wasn't a big deal because we had a spare tire. We got back on the road. Another 5, 6 hours down the road, the another tire starts going. So pull over and it's a valve stem again. And we're like, what the heck? And what happened was, so we caused our own problem. The little TPMS sensors are like the size of a quarter, but they are not even a quarter, about the size of a nickel, but they like have a little bit of weight to them.
The
And so
battery.
when we put them on the valve stems, you're going 70 miles an hour down the road and your valve stems, going like this. And our valve stems were old and apparently a little rotted from the Florida sun, which we didn't realize. So that TPMS sensor on it going back and forth basically weakened the rubber and caused us to have two leaky valve stems. Ideally, we would have replaced the valve stems before we left, but we just didn't think about it. And so anyway, it was stressful because then at that point, that when the second one went, we didn't have a spare.
Right.
So like, we filled it up. Cody had to stop and fill it up like 2 or 3 times to limp off the interstate to get to a tire place, which was closing. And they didn't really want to help us, but we convinced them, and they ended up putting on new valve stems for all of the tires. And long story short, we took those TPMS sensors off and won't be putting them back on until they make like rigid valve stems so that they don't, go back and forth like that. Made out of like, I think they make them out of brass and maybe regular metal too. I don't know. But anyways, we'll be all set for next year. We're gonna get rigid valve stems that aren't gonna have a problem and put the TPMS sensors back on. We're gonna make it one year we will make it with no
With no
flat tire
blowout. Yeah.
situations. Yeah. So anyway, that was our Saturday. And then so we arrived at the park at like, I don't know, 8:30, nine
Eight or
o'clock.
nine,
What about
yeah.
you?
Um, also left on Saturday, but we couldn't get our extra campground night on Saturday because there was somebody in our
That's
spot.
right.
So we booked a Love's Place that was like 30 minutes away from the campground. And this was a brand new to us travel trailer, as you know. And so we
It's
barely,
our old it's
it,
our old toy hauler trailer that basically we used like twice.
yeah. So it hadn't really been used. And so it was perfect that we got to the Loves because we were able to drop the back and do some cleaning and just open up the patio and get fresh air in there and kind of get it ready for the week. Because before that, we just kind of threw all of our stuff in there. We had a lot of stuff we were bringing for UpDiff. So it was packed. And we had to like shuffle everything around and kind of figure out the configuration. So that part was great. Um, just getting to kind of set up and clean a little bit and prepare for the week on Saturday. And then we headed over. So we got there, I think we got there maybe 3 or 4. No, we got there at noon because we had to pick up a rental. We had to pick up a rental car for Josh because he was leaving for work to go up to Pennsylvania, but I asked him to drive the trailer up. So we drove together with the trailer and then we had to get a rental car by noon. And then we had the whole rest of the day because we had to pick up that rental car because it was Easter weekend. We had to pick it up by a certain time because the rental place was closing. So we got there and picked up the rental car and had the rest of the afternoon to kind of hang out. So our Saturday was much more peaceful than your Saturday. And then we had drama later in the week. When we get to that day, we'll feel. What did you do on Sunday?
Yeah, so Sunday we went to the field and we had not been to this field for a year basically. Like, we visited a year prior. We talked with the folks at the park system, we talked with the tourism board, figured everything out, signed our contracts and blah blah blah. But, living in Tampa, we don't get to Tanglewood Park, so we hadn't seen the park in a year. And the
Mhm.
first thing when I got there on Sunday that I noticed was A, the grass wasn't mowed, which they said they were going to mow it on Thursday, Friday. B, there were no flags up showing us where power was because they said on the week prior the power company was going to come out and mark anything that the tent people couldn't drill into and, cause an issue. So those two things, I was like, uh-oh, this isn't good. And then as I walked to the field, I realized that the entire, I can't think directionally, but like in my mind, as you walk up to the field, the entire left-hand side of the field, which if you were at UpDiff, it's where the auxiliary field was,
Mhm.
and the side where we ended up putting all of the vendors. Anyways, we had planned for all the fields to be inside of that steeplechase area. And Kat had it like mapped out Google Earth, mapped it out like four on this side, four on this side. Well, when we got there, I quickly realized that that left side of that field was all tore up. Like it had ruts in it. Um, they used that interior of the steeplechase as parking for events. If you did any walking, you may have noticed that there was a band shell like really far away from where we were that they hold concerts at. And so for the concerts, the parking is in the steeplechase area. And I guess it must have been wet one of the times or something, and cars spun their tires pulling out.
Yep.
But anyways, the left-hand side of the steeplechase was essentially like not even usable. And so that, we were sitting there scrambling, trying to shift. Well, what could we do? There's a ton of green space at that place,
Yep.
like outside of the steeplechase, there's still a lot of green space. So we basically looked at the rest of the green space, figured out that we could probably put some fields up on that little ridge where field 3 and 5 ended up being.
Mhm.
And then we found that a little bit higher up the hill, over the hill where the porta johns were, we ended up figuring out we could fit two fields up there. So that's where we put fields 1 and 2. Long story short, we had a bunch of updoggers rake for us, including you, Dre, because they ended up mowing those fields, but
With
the
the bush
grass
hog.
was so thick, it just like
Yeah.
sat there in big clumps. So we
Yep.
knew we had to like get that grass off there. And like I said, a bunch of updoggers. Jason went and got like 10 rakes at like Lowe's, and everybody helped to rake that. So that was we ended up working it out.
Yeah.
So that was my Sunday going into Monday.
Yeah. Sunday we actually pulled into the campground and checked in at like 11. I think our check-in was at noon, but we checked in a little bit early. And then as soon as we set up, I headed over to the field and we started raking. So Sunday, I just remember raking all day, and we had music going and we had like a whole pack of people rotating in and out, and it was great exercise, great sunshine. Lots and lots
Yeah,
of
the
grass.
weather, the weather, it was nice. It wasn't too
It wasn't
hot.
too hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think ultimately we ended up providing a really nice field space for all of our fields. There weren't like all the made big divots and big, muddy spots that didn't have any grass weren't in the main playing area. So the work that we did on Sunday and Monday did create nice field space. It was just thicker grass than we would prefer, and it did create some interesting strategies. And it changed up rollers, and it changed up for small dogs. They had to run through thicker grass, and it definitely changed the tempo of the dogs being able to run through that grass. So those were some challenges for players that maybe didn't know how to adjust to that stuff. There was some challenges in the thick grass, but aside from that, I mean, aside from all the work we had to do to get it to that point, I think that the product at the end, they were still really nice fields. They were just thicker grass than people would be used to.
Yeah. And I think some of the fields 1 and 2 that we really weren't planning on playing on were
Yeah.
some of the nicer
They were
fields.
really
Like
nice over there. That's where we did
field
pairs.
one
Yeah.
and two were pretty nice. Field 3 and 5 were nice too. The grass was just a little thick, but
It was a little
that
thick.
but I mean good footing and everything. Like it wasn't slippery or anything like that. You know, I think it was better turf than we had in Cadiz when we were in Cadiz.
Yep.
Because remember that 1 year in Cadiz when it was like
Really
clumpy and like
dry. Yeah,
yeah,
dry.
dry.
Yeah.
I think that was the first year we were in Cadiz. But anyways, it was like you said, it was just a pain making it happen. But then once we got it all together, I don't think it was bad other than the grass being a little
Yeah.
bit long.
And most updoggers weren't even there by then, so they didn't even see or know that any of that happened. It was mostly on our setup crew that handled all of that. So how was your after we did all the field painting and stuff, how was your Tuesday, your Paris Day? I'm calling it Paris Day. How was your Tuesday?
Yeah, Paris Day was fun. I mean, there was still a lot of stuff needed to be set up. I did a lot of audio work. We were laying down mic cable and stuff like that, and all that mic cable. So like when we do voice of God, when we have the voice of God mic that can be announced and heard no matter which field you're at. Unfortunately, that's not wireless, and there really isn't the technology to make it wireless that's affordable to a normal person, a normal company. And So we have to lay mic cable all the way around like all those fields.
Hundreds and
And then we
hundreds of
have
yards
to
of it.
put spikes down to like hold the mic cable down because all of you
People
guys are
will
going to be
trip.
walking all over the field and driving your car and things like that. So anyway, that was basically Tuesday was laying down all that cable, making sure it's not going to get somebody's not going to trip over it or anything like that. And but I was still able to like, play some pairs games, which was awesome. I think I played probably about like 4 rounds of throw and go, maybe five. I played
Play with me.
yeah, didn't do too great.
That's fine. Still happy. Leave us
Yeah.
happy.
I think one of the coolest the more fun things about pairs is like at least for me, I never have any expectations because it's
Mhm.
like a thrown together team, that I don't practice with, and you're playing with somebody on the team is playing with a dog that is
Isn't
not their
theirs.
dog
Yeah.
and they don't have the relationship with that dog. So like I don't know, I don't ever like feel like, oh, I'm gonna knock out a 65 point round of throw and go or something. Like I have no expectations other than just have fun, which is what makes it fun too.
Yep.
I didn't play any four-way play, just because I don't know, just because I didn't. Four-way play, I think, is harder to like. You at least have to have some time to like get a plan. Like you can't just walk up and be like, "Here's the disc, let's go." But I know you played four-way play, right?
I played a lot. Anne, who was judging, said that I might get the award for the most four-way play rounds on Paris Day. So for me, that's been a big thing for me for years. Like I haven't really had pairs people to play with. And I think I've said it like, I don't know, a bunch of times on the podcast. Like people typically don't ask me to play pairs because I'm a lefty. Well, a lot of my lefty friends and students were all like, we're going to play pairs. And they did. So I got to play with a bunch of lefties and I got to play with other people as well. So for me, Tuesday was the most fun I've ever had at UpDiff playing, for sure. I actually got a bit of the UpDiff experience of like getting to play my dog and getting to play with other people. And the Dragon Dogs just, typically aren't qualified with someone else. So this year, I'm creating that people are going to play with my dogs and qualify with them so that at UpDiff week, they actually get to play instead of just because they can hear dogs playing in their van. They can hear dogs having fun and they don't get to do that at all. So they got to play, every dog got to play on Tuesday, which made me really, really happy. And then I'm creating for next year that I'll get some people qualified to play with the dragons so that they have something to do during the week of UpTIFF also. So Pairs Day was super fun for me. I got to play. I've never played Pairs four-way play before that Tuesday. I actually found it a little bit easier um, because the other handler had the dog half the time. Um, but my dogs didn't catch other people's throws very well, which was interesting. So anyway, it was super fun. And I agree with you. It was nice to not feel like it had to be a certain level, or I don't even know where we ended up, like points wise. I don't know that I care. I have some videos of my dogs playing, and that just made me super happy. So I thought Tuesday was great, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to play pairs before the action starts, that we can kind of anybody that traveled in, they can get the beans out from their travel and kind of have a low pressure icebreaker, connecting with friends and seeing people there and jumping in for rounds and that kind of stuff. So I absolutely love Tuesday. That was one of my favorite days.
Yeah, and for those that may not have made the connection, those fields are run by other clubs. Like the Updog team does not really have anything to do with the pairs games in terms of judging or running the fields or anything like that. I mean, we set up the sound and we painted the field, but um, other clubs run that field, and that's nice because we still have a bunch of stuff going
Yeah.
on. Plus, we'd like to play a little bit with our dogs. Like Dre said, our dog's going to be cooped up for the next 5 days. So it gives us an opportunity to do that. And so we really appreciate those clubs that ran those fields.
Mhm.
Um, and to your point, Dre, you definitely should get some folks to qualify your dogs next year. Um, I think all of our guys, I'm trying to think. I mean, other than Spice, because she's like
Old.
old Spice. And she she was the only one I think that didn't play with somebody. Maybe Buggy didn't play.
Yeah, she,
Yeah.
Yeah, Buggy didn't play because she was too young. She didn't get qualified for anything. But all the rest of our dogs were qualified with multiple people. Landon played with our dogs.
I
All of
saw
our local
Allison play
crew,
with a few.
Allison, Jen, like we had a lot of people that played with our dogs, which was nice. And it's hard on them because like we don't even sometimes it's like we even forget to go by and check to make sure that they've been pottied or something. But luckily, Kat had a schedule and people were assigned to our dogs, and they like helped us out throughout the weekend to just check in and be like, let's see, did Ferris get walked yet today? Nope. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pull them and walk them. So that's been really nice to have people that are connected with our dogs and have played with our dogs throughout the year. So when they grab them out of the van in the middle of UpDiff, they're not like, stranger danger, who are you? Like they
Right.
know who that is. So
Yeah. I'm working on that. So I think I need to go up to Nash Vertical this year and get them to throw to some dragons. I told them I'll just come up and judge and you guys play all my dogs.
you need to get your local going.
Yeah, I'm working on it. Here in Chattanooga, there is not any disc yet, and I've done some networking, but I'm doing a lot of dog shows this year. So I won't be here a lot of the summer. So my focus this year is to try and get out to Nash Vertical and get some play up there and continue to talk about it, network, maybe create some fun, just like go set up for agility at a park. And if anybody comes up with their dogs, just meet up with a couple friends and see what happens. But I've never built a club from scratch before, so we'll see how this goes. It'll be fun.
Just
Everybody come to
just
Chattanooga and play up dog.
just schedule it and do it. And the first one you'll have like a couple people. The next one you'll have a couple people more. It
Yeah,
just grows.
yeah. So that's on
Um,
the agenda for this year also.
cool. All right. So Wednesday, things start. I think Wednesday was four-way play and funky.
Mhm.
Um, am I right, Kat? See, I'm wrong already. What was it for? What did I say? I said
Four-way
four-way play. I
playing
meant
funky.
far out. Obviously, I knew it
Yeah, it
was
was far
far
out
out.
there.
Far out and funky, right?
yep.
Yeah, I just got my F words
F's mixed
mixed
up.
up. Far out and funky. Far out was interesting. We did not think rollers would be. We thought air throws would be better than rollers because of the grass, but
Yeah, but the wind was
um,
funky.
but some people still found a way to make the rollers work, and
Yeah,
I think some of the longest catches were rollers still.
yeah,
Um, I think air throws definitely were utilized more than they have been in previous years, where the grass was just like, I mean, like I said, at Decatur, the grass, like
it would just
some
go
of
all
those
day.
rollers just kept rolling and rolling and rolling because it was like, pristine flat grass. Like so. Anyways, so that was cool watching the far out. And then funky. I think I can't remember if I judged that day or not at all. I think I
Yeah.
did judge for a little bit that day.
I judged far
Any,
out all day.
anyways, you did what, Dre?
I judged far out all day. That was fun. Yeah, so it
Yeah.
was interesting because I was on the men's field, and in the afternoon I closed out the women's field. So I really didn't see what the women's throwing was like until the very end of the day. But for the first half of the day, for the men's field, we had a favorable righty crosswind. But I feel like people couldn't figure it out. Like they just couldn't figure out the crosswind. It was a little switchy, but wind is usually a little bit switchy. But I think that's what kind of pushed people into the rollers is that they just couldn't figure out how to use the crosswind to get good distance. If there's any anhyzer at all, it was just flipping over. So people really had to throw a strong hyzer throw. And for people that couldn't do that, they just couldn't get the distance. So they were throwing rollers. And then I went over to the women's field and they had primarily a headwind. It was mostly headwind and switchy to a little bit of sidewind, crosswind. So the women's field was pretty different. And they ended up having the longest catches by air throws, but I don't think there was many women that could throw very far in that. And then obviously, as women, we have just less power. And so pushing through that grass with rollers was going to be harder for us also. So we had both the headwind and the thick grass. Although I think the women's was over on field 1 and 2, which is the like slightly better grass,
Yeah.
where the men's was up in that thicker grass area with 3 and 5. So the men definitely had to deal with thicker grass for their rollers,
The
but they were
men's
more
was on
favorable.
field 6.
It was in the steeplechase area.
Yep.
I don't even remember
Yeah.
that. Oh yeah, it
Yeah, it
was the
was in the
farm field.
steeplechase, and actually their grass was not as thick because they weren't up on that ridge.
But they had clumps of.
They had, but yeah, they had
Big clump.
what there would it would be flat, and then all of a sudden there'd be a big clump. So they'd be
Yeah,
like rolling, 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 then it
and
would
then
be
pick
like
up.
boom.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think it was interesting just how it worked out with the wind and the grass between the women's and the men's far out, but um, we still got big numbers and we had an interesting blend of rollers and throws this year. And I know that, we get back to Alabama next year, it's going to be advantage rollers. It'll be advantage whatever, but there won't be any issues with rollers on that grass. So it'll be interesting to see what comes of it next year. We might have to back up a lot because Finn's throwing over 100 pretty much every throw. And if we got him rolling on that nice grass, we might be going out to like 150 or 160 yards.
I mean, you never know too.
Yeah.
I mean, just like you said, just with the wind. I mean, and some people made it like our survey results have started to come in, and there were a couple people that said like, you should have asked some of the far out players what direction you want to place the fields. And A, the fields have to be laid down a day or
Days
two
before.
ahead of time with the paint. Like you
Yeah.
can't just swap it super quick. Secondly, we did ask far out players. We asked a lot of the top players from the previous year what they thought, and we set up the fields in the direction that they suggested. So anyway, just wanted folks to know that winds can change. We do solicit the feedback of our top players, but just sometimes, like you said, Dre, sometimes too, it's if you got a crosswind, you got to really work it and you got to figure it out what's the best way to throw it, how much hyzer or anhyzer you need to have or whatever to
Yep.
make it work.
And I mean, I prefer at a big contest when there is some challenging weather variable like that, personally, because I feel like it's a separator. The people that have better understanding of disc and throwing are going to rise, and the people that don't aren't going to be competitive. And it's a world championship. So, that's how
Yeah.
you learn. But obviously we had great weather this week compared to what we've had in the past, and so we saw a lot more of a level playing field in regards to those variables because they weren't in place for the rest of the year, the rest of the week.
Yeah,
Uh,
funky was good. Not a ton of wind, strong wind. I didn't have in the past we've had to stake down the jumps.
yeah,
I
I remember
don't
that.
I don't remember that we staked down those jumps for funky. I did stake them down. I think it was 7 up another day that the wind picked up a little bit, but the first day we didn't have bad wind for the funky fields and some really fast, funky runs. And I think that was our game of the day too that we did. Um, Somebody suggested that we do multiple games of the day, that every game is a game of the day in case they don't play one of the games, which I get it. It makes sense. And we just hand out achievement stickers. So that's probably something we could work out for next year. Because if you don't play funky or you don't play far out, then
Then you
and
don't
then
get
you
a
don't have a
reward.
special
Right.
achievement to go for, it's not maybe not as motivating or whatever. But anyway, yeah, by the way, we're gonna do another podcast with our survey results just to share with you
Mhm.
guys what everybody said. Last year we had Brian on for that one. We might bring him back on. He likes to crunch the data and tell us, well, 62 people said this, but
Yeah.
149 people said this or whatever. So anyway, we might get him back on the podcast. So all
Yeah.
right, so Wednesday, let's see. Wednesday, I spent around 11:30. I left the field. No, that's a
That was
lie.
Wednesday.
Wednesday we did the players meeting at noon,
Hmm.
which this year we did something different because we had so many runs that Cat had to fit in. We had to start every day at 8 o'clock in order to get everything done. And because we were starting the day at 8 o'clock, we didn't want to do like 7:15 player meetings because that would just been brutal. Especially if like, you don't play until like 10:30 and you could sleep in, but now I've got to go to a 7:15 players meeting. Like from a competitor experience, we're like, no, let's not do that to our people. So we basically said, all right, we will have a players meeting Wednesday morning. That'll be our only morning one. And then all the other player meetings were at noon at the lunch hour for the
Yep.
following day. And I think that worked out really well. I think
It did.
people enjoyed it. Um, Michael sang the national
Dang.
anthem
Yeah.
every morning at like 7:45, which I thought was great to kind of start the day. So we didn't have a players meeting, but we had the national anthem to kick things off, and then all of our fields started at 8 o'clock. But anyway, Wednesday I did the players meeting, and then as soon as the players meeting was over, Cody and I jumped in the trailer. We had unloaded everything except all the audio and lighting gear, and we went to the venue
Banquet. Yeah.
to the banquet venue to set up sound and audio and stuff, which takes a while. And another stress point for us, again, the behind the scenes, is they shared with us that their room seats 500 for a banquet.
Mhm.
If you went to the banquet, I'm sure you would highly doubt how they would get 500 in that room because we had it pretty darn packed and we had like
Yeah.
350 people in there. So trying to figure that out was again another stress point, but it all worked out. So that was my Wednesday. And then
That was Wednesday or Thursday? Because that was far out day.
that was Wednesday.
So you set up for the banquet Wednesday for the Thursday banquet.
Right. Well,
Got it.
Wednesday, all we did was set up all the audio and video, and then I went back Thursday to like
Yeah.
set up tables and get the awards ready
Because
and
I
all that
remember
kind of
hearing
stuff.
that. Yeah, when I was judging on Thursday, I remember
Yeah.
hearing that you were over setting up the banquet.
Yeah, so it
Uh,
took us Wednesday and Thursday to kind of set that up.
I'm trying to remember what oh, it was Boom on Thursday. I judged Boom all day on Thursday. Um, yeah, so that was fun. You were off setting up the banquet and I judged Boom. And I got to see the Finley Ben battle because Finley ended up winning Boom by clearing the 100 points. And Ben tried to beat her with Dr. Worm, and then something happened with the judging. He got a rerun, and it was all this drama, and he had everybody come over to like watch the rerun, and he got the exact same score as the first time, and Finley beat him by like 35 points. So that was probably the highlight of my day on the Boom field. It was just fun. Um, yeah,
That's pretty
so
impressive that, a 15-year-old girl won Boom. That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I didn't. I saw one other team going for it, it was Aaron. He went for the 100 and just missed it. So he was there, but didn't get the 100. So that was and I don't know where he finished on the podium. I wasn't paying attention, but I'm assuming he finished on the podium because that was the next best round that I saw. But that boom was actually very exciting for it. I'm not a boomer, but I did find it fun to judge, and it was great judging with Megan, and we had a fun time. We were dancing on the sidelines and having a good time. So I really enjoyed connecting with the judges this year. Um, we're usually the last couple of years we haven't judged as much because we didn't have as many runs. We had a lot more runs this year. So the founders all judged more than we would normally. At least me, you, and Jason, or at least me and Jason, judged more than we had in previous years. So nice to kind of connect with our head judges in that way, inside judge, and just support them and get to hang out with them and spend some time with them. Because I see them in passing and thank them for judging, but I don't really spend 4 hours with them, you know? So I really enjoyed that part on Thursday.
Well, Thursday was the day that, well, when I was at the banquet hall,
Hmm.
Kat calls me, and I could tell by the sound of her voice she was stressed out. The fire marshal had been
Oh
called
yeah.
by by some neighbors. Basically, the fire marshal came up and said, "What did he say, Kat? Something about somebody told me there was a party going on, or
Tent City.
yeah, somebody told me there was Tent City going on over here, and I need to come check it out." Another thing that was kind of a stress point that was behind the scenes is, and a number of up diff people experience this too, but like this area that we were at is a huge open field, and it is enjoyed by horse people that
Yeah.
ride their horses at the park and people that come to the park to walk their dogs. And even though it says to keep your dog on leash, anybody who enters the this area, there's usually like it's a big area and there's usually only one or two people there at a time, and so they let their dogs off lead to just walk around. So the fact that we were there interrupted the horse riding and interrupted people breaking the leash law and letting their dogs just run amok because they didn't want to do that, thankfully, while we were there.
Right.
But we received a bunch of negative comments from those people, like making passerby comments about the fact that we shouldn't be there or why are we here and blah, blah, blah. This is our area. So I'm guessing, I don't know this for sure, but I am guessing one of them or one of the neighbors called the fire marshal for us to, to just come out, hoping that maybe there would be something that was not appropriate and maybe they could shut us down for a day or something. I don't know. But so anyway, Kat's super stressed, and fire marshal finds some things that are not right. We had to put in fire breaks with our competitor tents, which is something I've
Yeah.
never heard of.
They had to move.
So we had to ask a couple people to move their tents, and they were great. Our
Ladies,
competitors
yeah.
were great. They complied and quickly did it and understood. And we had to go out and buy some fire extinguishers and put them up. And we were told that the fire marshal would be coming back on the weekend, and they never did. But anyways, it's just one of those things. It's stressful because you don't want, the fire marshal could shut down the event. They could cause more trouble by coming back and saying they found something else or whatever. But anytime you're trying to run an event and then you've got neighbors or somebody trying to like thwart your efforts, it's stressful. So
Yeah.
anyway, that happened Thursday, but it all worked out just like everything else did.
And
That's
now we
kind
have
of like
fire
it all
extinguishers.
worked out.
We have fire extinguishers for our tents.
Yep. What was funny too is that like, I mean, the theme was on
What's
point
playing
for the
with
fire
fire?
marshal to come. And
Yep.
Kat was telling me that when the fire marshal was there, that was one of the colder days. And the data team is just sitting there working numbers and stuff. They're not moving around. They had a space heater plugged in. Um, keeping people warm. And so the fire marshal's talking to Kat, and she's like trying to like hide the space heater behind her so that he doesn't see it, just in case that was an issue
That was
or
a
whatever.
problem.
But I don't think he ever saw it, so that's good. And thankfully, he never found out about the firefighter challenge that was going to happen on
That
Friday,
night.
where we advertised that there would be a blazing inferno, even though that was, just hyping it up, but we certainly didn't want him to know about that either. So, oh, and then Babs gives everybody lighters
Yeah.
and uh
And campfire
and camp yeah,
torch
camp stoves in
things.
the players pack. Perfect.
All
Perfect
in
for the fire
bags.
marshal to come.
Right. Yeah. Thankfully, we hadn't handed all those out yet. Nobody had their torches lit in their in their tents yet.
I mean, a lot
Oh,
of people had them, but
they didn't
they
light them
didn't light
up.
them yet. So,
Yeah. We played with them in the campground though. That was great. They were great. I loved it. I'm very excited to use mine again on a camping trip.
yeah, a lot of
Um,
people really liked the stuff in the players pack. So, all right, so let's see.
Friday.
So Friday, Friday, Saturday, you start live streaming because freestyle's
Yeah.
going. Um, I'm trying to think, Kat, what games were on Friday? What other games?
Greedy and spaced out.
Greedy and Spaced Out. Yeah, that would have been a fun day for me. I would have loved to play that. I like Spaced Out and Greedy.
And freestyle.
So, and freestyle. And Saturday was what, Kat?
Forward playing fireball.
Four-way play and
Mm.
Fireball. Okay. Yeah. Um, it was a lot of fun. I really like I just enjoy watching the freestyle. I don't ever judge because I'm running the sound, and running the sound is almost a two-person job, just making sure you've got everything ready to go, making sure
Mhm.
that the timer's working and while like inevitably while Cody and I are running the sound, Cody gets called to go help a field that the microphone stopped working or something. I get called for something. So like half the time only one of us is there to get the music started anyway. But it's fun to be there to kind of watch all the freestyle that's happening. I enjoy being able to have that job each year because I get to see the freestyle.
Ditto.
This year
I
the
love it.
this year the freestyle teams were randomly placed. Like there was no like last year we looked at people's scores throughout the year and using their average scores, we tried to place them from lowest
Oh,
scoring
it's
to highest scoring. But this year we felt like it would be it would be more it would be more fair, I guess you could say, to just randomize it because the judges shouldn't have some sort of expectation about what your score
right.
is going to be, um, based on when you're doing your freestyle. We wanted it to just be random. So this year it was random, which was I thought was great. So, the level of freestyle kind of fluctuated throughout the day, and it I thought it worked out, and Jess Kittredge did a nice job. She put together a spreadsheet for us again, which allows the scoring to be live for the judges. They can kind of see what each other are scoring. Our head judge, Jason, could see what was going on in case he needed to have any conversations with anybody. The totals pop up. You're able to sort things really quick, so a judge can easily look back and go, "Oh, well, I gave this person this score. I want to give this person a quarter point more." So a lot of cool things that they were able to do with the technology. And I think that overall it helped the scores. I mean, I don't know what you thought
Mhm.
about freestyle, but I mean, yes, there's always a team or two that I think should have gotten scored higher or lower, but that's just part
Sure.
of freestyle. That's just part of it being a little bit subjective.
Mhm.
But I thought overall they did a really good job of like I was pretty much in agreement with like the top 20 something teams that got pushed on through Sunday.
Yep. Yeah, I thought the judges did a fantastic job. We tested that system that Jess did for Freestyle Crown, and I think we used it also for the Invitational. So we had had a couple of instances of using it, and in my experience, I judged both of those, so it was much easier. It was a great tool to be able to see the scores and be able to slot people. Because usually when you're judging, you're taking notes and writing down whatever you wrote for scores for people, and then I just would flip back on my pages and kind of see who was in that score range, and then that helped me adjust by quarter points. But this system made it so that you didn't need to do that, and you can just look on the computer and see what you had scored somewhere else, and then you could go up and down from there. So I felt like it was definitely a level up in technology, and super grateful that Jess was able to do that in between her rounds and all the stuff that she was up to at UpDiff. So thank you, Jess, for again coming in and adding a really nice admin tool for our judges for freestyle. And I
Yeah,
love
and
the random.
I told her, to charge me for it. And at some point I was like, don't forget to charge me for it. And she's like, I am charging you. I think she got like a hat and a hoodie. She's like, I'm
Yeah.
charging you a hat and a hoodie. I'm like, okay. So
Yeah,
then
she
she
came up
just
to
went
me
to
and
the
she's like, "Is it
store.
okay to ask for a hoodie?" And I was like, "Dude, that's you should probably be asking for more than a hat and hoodie." So she said she would just be happy with that. So it was great, and that just speaks again to the updoggers that we have, that the clubs that choose to run pairs and the people that choose to assist and help us out and side judge or head judge throughout the whole week, or the people who contribute admin, or the people who sing our national anthem in the morning. It's like we couldn't deliver UpDiff to the level that we deliver it without the Updoggers being so passionate about pouring in their personal talents. We only have so many of us, and there's only so much that we can do as individuals that I think our level ups every year are directly related to the Updoggers that we have that pour in their talents to it. So I think that's really, really cool that we were able to use that for UpDiff. And I think the biggest issue that we had is that the computers got hot for the judges because they
Yeah,
were out full
and
sun.
none of them shut down or anything.
Yeah.
We've got the Panasonic Toughbooks that two of the people were using, and those things just they're made for that. The iPads, people that Jason was using an iPad, his got
He's
pretty
got it
hot,
hot.
but it never
Yeah.
shut down because it wasn't as hot as it's been in the past. Like,
Yeah.
um,
It was just full sun. It was just there
yeah.
wasn't much shade, so it was just very sunny. And when we got to like 3 or 4 in the afternoon, when everything was finishing up, it got a bit hot. I would say it was probably 85 degrees in full sun. So, I mean, aside from it being warm and sunny, which like any other year we'd be praying for warm and sunny. Um, I think that was really the only challenge for the judges, staff, and some of the teams. But I don't even think the heat was a major issue for any of the teams.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I did see a couple teams end early. I don't know whether that was just planned or if it was maybe because their dog was getting a little hot. I'm not sure. But a couple teams ended like maybe 20 seconds early or something. But like I
Yeah.
said, that could have been planned. Maybe that was the top material that they had and they felt like that was best to end early.
Yeah.
Um,
A lot of players ended at around 2 minutes, and that makes sense because every other freestyle organization except for Skyhounds is running a 2 minute round. So I would say if they don't plan a pre-routine or they don't have, you know, for criterion, if they don't use their performance bits that took up the extra 15 seconds, then they may end it at 2 minutes. But I still felt like it was a complete freestyle round. Like I didn't feel like, aside from, the couple people that they just ended because their dogs weren't into the round, I felt like it was pretty complete. I didn't feel like anybody ended too early.
how was the live stream? Like how many, like what was the most people that were on it?
I think the most we had was in the 30s, and it was on Friday. We had a really good group, and then I accidentally hung up on them. I hit the finish button, and then I didn't realize you could cancel. I hit the finish button by accident, and I didn't realize you could cancel the finish. It was like slow-mo. In my brain, it's like cancel, and I couldn't process it fast enough. So I hung up on our biggest group. I went right back on again, but people find that or don't find it. But yeah, I think the rest of the time, it was maybe 10 to 20 on the live stream, and then most everyone else just watched the recording afterwards.
Yeah.
A lot of players went back and watched the live stream of their own rounds or sent it to friends that were at home and didn't make it to the event so they can hear the commentary and, just learn a little bit more about freestyle. Um, I had several people message me and say that they didn't know what those moves were called until they saw him on the live stream, and then I was calling out what it was, so that it helped them understand freestyle a little bit better to be able to kind of translate what was happening on the field, or talk about the different behaviors or the skills that the handler was showing by doing the patterns that they were doing and what it would show to the judges. So I think that that part of the live stream was definitely something that people went back and watched. And the live, I mean, they would have had to have known to go to my wall because you can't stream right from a group. You have to stream from a person. So unless they know to go to my wall for the initial thing, until it's shared to the Updog discussion page, they're not gonna see it on the discussion page.
So
So
right now it's still up there. They can still watch a recording,
Mhm.
right?
Yep. Yeah, it's going to
Yeah.
be up for at least 30 days. There are a bunch of music restrictions, obviously, because the internet can see those and might mute out those. But they're going to be up for at least 30 days before Facebook decides that they're going to delete them or not delete them. So go on there
Yeah,
and
you
watch.
guys should check it out. There's some really, really cool rounds and just some cool innovation, like some really
Mhm.
cool creativity that our groups had. And when I say that, some of it was like, some of it's high level cool moves, and others it's just like it could be a new person that's just starting out, but yet they had some really cool creative stuff that they did during the performance round. So,
Yep.
anyways, you should definitely check out those live streams that are still hanging out there they're on the discussion page now. They're linked on the discussion page, so you can just
Yeah.
go there and find them.
And they're all labeled like part one, part two, part three, so you know you won't miss any of them. And we did performance all day Friday and all day Saturday. So all the ones that are from Friday and Saturday are all the same round. It was 124 players total, so it just went across 2 days for Friday and Saturday, and then the Sunday's finals were streamed separate on Sunday.
Yeah.
So I don't know
I
what
know.
else happened on Friday and Saturday because I was just at that
I was
freestyle
just gonna say, I know people are like, "Hey, there were other games going on Friday and Saturday. How come Dre and Jack are only talking about freestyle?" Well,
because
A,
we were
it's
running
because
that
we like
field.
freestyle, but B, we were stuck at that field all day long. So I really
Yeah,
don't even know what exactly happened
I don't know at all.
at the other fields. I know that there were some spaced out ties, which happen frequently. I
Happens
was
all
able
the
to,
time. Yeah,
I judged the tiebreaker for first and second, third and fourth, which that was exciting to do. Um, and
and we did a 30-second tiebreaker this year because there's usually so many ties, right? Instead of
yeah.
15. That did that work better? Like, did we have less ties because of the 30-second tiebreaker?
Um,
I mean, tiebreakers went faster because of
yeah. Yeah, we didn't have like
Have to do as
where,
many rounds of them.
we would have to keep doing it because they kept tying over and over. We didn't have that situation, so that was good. Um, we even had a tie in time warp, which is crazy because time
Yeah,
warp goes down to the hundredth of a second, and we had
really?
a tie in time warp, yeah. Um, and that one was easily broken too, just with
Yeah.
one try. Um,
And
yeah,
then we had banquets. That
I
was
did a
nice.
lot of the judging of the tiebreakers. That was fun. It's always fun to do the judging of the tiebreakers and see what happens there. The banquet on Saturday was, I think it was pretty good. Like it was more crowded than the one on Thursday just because there's more people at
More people
UpDiff on
there.
Saturday than there are on Thursday. But everybody seemed to, find space to sit
Yep.
down and find a spot to eat and
Swap
whatnot.
stickers. We did lots of, and we survived no chickens. Several people missed them and asked why there was no flying chickens. So maybe next year we can bring back flying chickens. Personally, I love them. Um, I
Yeah,
don't know how, I
Kat
don't know how
said,
Cat
"Oh, we
feels about
forgot the
that.
chickens on Sunday." Secretly, Cody and I had them available if people were like, "Chickens, chickens, we want the flicking
Yeah.
chickens." Like, but that didn't happen. But Cody and I are like, "Let's just not bring these out because
We'll have to clean them
it's
up
gonna it's gonna take us a long time in this thick grass
to
to
find all
clean
the
up
chickens.
flicking chickens."
Yeah.
So it was sort of planned, Kat.
them.
So
Oh,
next
But
year's banquet, hopefully we'll have some flicking chickens not on the field, or that field is smooth enough that we should be able to pick them up. But I missed the
right,
flicking chickens, but
exactly.
I
We
felt
were
like the
just
banquets were good.
concerned that we would be there for hours because of the thick grass trying to
Yep.
find them all. But
Yep.
yeah, at Decatur it'd be easy to just pick them up off the ground.
Perfect for.
Perfect
Yeah.
for flicking chickens. Yeah. But
Yeah.
we
So
did I don't remember which afternoon it was, but we did have we did Hero Disc USA donated some stuff to UpDiff, and one of the things that they donated were the gummy go-getters, the like
yeah.
super floppy discs that like they're
Dude,
great
those
for like
things flew
young pups
great.
and stuff like that. And I wouldn't say they fly great, Dre,
I
but they
saw
do
I
fly
saw some
better.
people whipping them out. I saw
Yeah,
people
they
really
do
throwing
fly
them
better
very
than
high.
you'd think that they would fly. Let's just say that for sure. That you have to throw them differently. You definitely got to put some anhyzer on them.
Yeah.
But anyways, I had Gary go to one side of the field and start throwing discs, like almost like a t-shirt cannon style, like, down to players at the other end of the field. And then if you caught one of them, you ended up winning a prize. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I stopped that quickly though, so before no one would broke a ACL or a collarbone or something like that. Because no matter how much I tried and told them, you're only getting a t-shirt. Please do not tear an ACL like trying to get this gum and go getter. But they were not listening, man. They were fierce. They were going after it. So
Yeah.
anyways, but that was fun. It was
I
a
was
cool thing.
impressed. I was impressed by the gummy go-getter. I saw a handful of people using them in Time Warp when we were judging Time Warp on Sunday, and I was like, I saw the people walk up with them and I was like, this isn't going to go really well. And they just like whipped them out and they had great flight and hover, like way better than the Kong floppy flyers. Because I had talked to the person after, I was like,
Yeah.
this thing really, she's like, yeah, I usually use the Kong flyers and this flies a lot better. So I was really impressed because I've held them and I've tossed them a little bit, but I've never used them for my dogs. And they really had very nice glide and spin. And some of the dogs that, real soft mouthed, did a great job of catching them. So I think that was a win, bringing those out.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I think they just take a little getting used to, and you got to throw them a little bit differently. But they
Yep.
definitely do throw better than I thought they would. They would go. I'm like, how
Mhm.
the heck is this thing gonna fly? But
Just
it,
flop it around. It
yeah,
worked. It worked. So Saturday's banquet was good. Sunday, I know we had time warp, and I think I just judged time warp on Sunday. What was the other
Cat.
game?
What else was on Sunday? Time Warp and what else?
Fragility.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
fragility. That's right.
Fragility.
Because it was hoop. And I didn't judge or see any of the fragility because I was on the time warp field. So how did the hoop go? I think I heard that most people just took the back obstacle because the dogs are more familiar with jumps.
Um, I honestly don't know because I didn't get to see a lot of Fragility, but and that was a last minute thing because that was just a brain fart on my part because we brought three tunnels. So the course was supposed to be jump, hoop, jump up front, tunnel in the back, not jump in the back.
Ooh.
But when our crew, we didn't even realize this till the morning because we carried all the equipment to the field. So every field that was going to have a fragility field had a tunnel and the hoop and the two jumps ready to go so that the crew in the morning, the setup crew, could set it up. So as the setup crew starts laying it out, we realize one of the tunnels is shorter than the other two.
Oh no.
And so we're like, great. This is not something that we realized. And of course, we can't do that. It's got to be consistent across all three fields because that could impact the scores. And so we made a quick decision. We're like, all right, well, I guess we're not doing tunnels. So all those tunnel bags that had gotten filled,
Oh
um, that
man.
was like basically for no purpose. I mean, we did use tunnels for Funky, so we did need two of the tunnels. But anyways, the third tunnel was I can't remember what the difference in distance was, but it was enough to, you
Yeah.
know, they needed to all be the same. So the course that we were supposed to have was changed last minute to jump in the back instead of tunnel in the back.
But people wonder why we're so tired after this week. Like just the regular amount of work, but like all the things that go wrong that we have to like adjust last minute and figure out how to still make it work without disrupting the. I didn't even know that happened. I just knew that we were using hoops because
Yeah.
Sarah came up and asked if we were allowed to practice on the hoops and why the hoops out there. So that's how I found out because I was on the time warp field.
Yeah. I mean, that's how we want it to be, really, right? Like you can
Yep.
find out about it at this podcast, but you don't need to know about it
At the event,
then.
yeah.
We don't want you guys to realize that bad things are happening, or not bad things, but just that stressful things, or
Unplanned. Yeah,
yeah,
unplanned things.
yeah.
Well, so
And
that's
then
Sunday and then the banquet. Oh
Sun
no, yeah.
Sunday was interesting because we did things a little bit differently this year. We did the Sunday banquet at the field, which was something that people in last year's survey, we had a good portion of people say that they would be interested in trying that out to see what that would be like. And we know that a lot of times on Sunday, people like to get on the road as well. And if we do a banquet, by the time you get from the field to the banquet and then the banquet happens, banquet's not ending at earliest. The banquet's ending probably at 8:30, but more likely 9 or 9:30. You're not getting on the road at that point.
No.
So anyways, we were able to I think we had so we had Moe's delivered, and I know you helped a lot with that to get that all set up and manage that. And Mo people started eating at like about 5 o'clock, and I think around 5:30 we started the awards,
Mhm.
and it was, I mean,
We were done.
awards maybe lasted 45 minutes,
Mhm.
and if people wanted to, they could be on the road by 6:30, 7 o'clock to get out of there. And I know a lot of people had packed up too, like at the end of the day, they were all packed up. So as soon as the awards finished, they could go.
Pull out and go. Yeah.
But that worked out. Honestly, it worked out good for us too because we were able to clear the fields of
Break it down
everything
without having
before
to
it
go to the banquet and come back. Yeah.
well, before it got dark too, because we're always coming back after the banquet with our
Like 10,
headlamps,
11
clearing the
o'clock at
field at
night.
like 11 p.m. at
Yep.
night, and then the next morning going out there to make sure, like, all right, what did we not see in the
Right.
dark? What did we forget? Um, and that was much easier for us too. We thought that worked out well. Hopefully everybody felt like it worked out as well. We'll check the survey on that and see what people thought of Sunday night's banquet.
I liked it being at the field better, and I like the awards being at the field. That way, when people again are packing up, they can still, if their priority is packing up, they can still listen in and what's happening and continue packing up their stuff. And if they're, into the awards, they can come over, and it doesn't take much time away from them being able to pack up and get out at a
As long
reasonable
as it's
time.
not raining.
Yeah, it wasn't
Yeah,
raining.
Kat's behind me saying it's great as long as it's not raining, which is true. We had
Yeah,
good weather, so it made it nice.
we had
Yeah,
a
our
plan though
plan,
for rain.
we did have an alternate plan if it was raining. Babs and Nick did a great job. We asked them to break down the store at noon after
Mhm.
right after the noon break, and they had that entire tent unloaded and empty by the time that we did awards. So it wouldn't have been the best thing because we would have been pushed in there like sardines or whatever. But
It would have been dry.
if necessary, we could have gone into the store tent and done the awards in there. It certainly wouldn't have been as nice because we wouldn't have had the backdrop and the podiums and all that.
Sure, it would have broken some fire marshal.
And yeah, and Kat said we would have broken some fire marshal's rule about the number of people in the tent. But anyways, we had a plan, so we would have figured it out anyway. Um, Another thing that we did this year differently was we had that hospitality tent for the judges and
Yeah,
the photographers to hang out in. Um, they're a big part of making UpDiff run smoothly, and we wanted a nice spot for them to grab snacks, hang out if they had a little bit of a break.
get out of the
And so I
sun.
think that tent was nice and helpful too because it gave us an extra spot to store things like waters and toilet paper and things like that. In the past, all that stuff was usually under the freestyle tent where the data people were, and we had junk everywhere and like it was hard to move around. So I think that worked out well this year too.
So I like the hospitality tent a lot because it created a shady space with snacks and for the judges to go. But really, like when you're judging all day, if you'd be like hanging out under your tent, under the judging tent, or going somewhere else, people are going to be asking you questions, asking you about scores. Like it's a way to kind of the hospitality tent allowed everybody to have a separate space to not be on judge duty. So if
Well, and
the
also we did the raffles there, which again, normally the raffles we're trying to push under the
yeah, the main
store
tent.
tent or under the freestyle tent. So I think in general it was really good to
It
have
was a
an
win.
extra tent there.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
really liked it. I liked having the snacks out so people could just run by and grab something or grab a drink. I think the judge hospitality cart was really cool this year, going around to all the different fields with a pulling a cart full of all different types of snacks. Um, I thought that part was we did a better job of that than we have done in the past, I think, for the judges
That's
and admins.
Well,
What cat?
our volunteers did a really nice job too. Like, I I don't even know who a couple of the people were, but like Chaz was one of them, and he was like, they all did it. They were kind of like selling stuff. They're like, "Do you
Yeah,
need anything?" And we would all be like, "No, we're good." And they're like, "But
like
I have
water,
this, and I
snack,
also have these."
fresh fruit.
Like, yeah, they were really doing a good job of marketing or whatever you want to call it, selling
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, I thought they were great. In the times that I was judging, I had them come by and ask every time. So I thought that was great.
Well, We hope that you enjoyed our little recap and hearing Dre and I share our thoughts and opinions of how UpDiff went. I thought it was great. Again, overall, super positive, everybody being super helpful. I love the community. That's what
Mhm.
makes it like it's so freaking tiring. Like I'm up at 5:30 each morning to head to the field to get audio equipment up, and some nights I went to bed after midnight because we were still working on stuff. So like by Friday came and like I just told Kat, I'm like, I don't feel good. And she's like, uh-oh, this was like Friday morning and I'm like, I don't feel good. And she's like, oh no, are you coming down with something? I'm like, no, I just don't feel good. Like it was just this
Yeah.
overall feeling of like being tired, sore, using muscles I hadn't used in a long time, like probably not eating great, like just all
Not
of it.
enough
But like
rest. Yeah.
the adrenaline of everything keeps you going and everybody just having a great time and seeing everyone like enjoy themselves makes it all worth it. But
What's your
but
favorite
yeah,
part?
great. Yeah, it was great this year, I thought.
What was your favorite part of the week if you had to pick like the part that made you feel the happiest or the part that sticks with you the most? What would you say it is?
I don't know. I mean obviously I really enjoyed watching freestyle and some of the performance rounds just were really cool to me. Like some of them just stuck out to me. And so watching the performance rounds, I think, was my favorite part.
Yeah, that's
What
my
about
favorite
you?
part. Freestyle. Freestyle.
Freestyle?
Man,
Yeah.
I came in Friday with smile from ear to ear. It was like I was holding my breath since Saturday. I just couldn't wait for freestyle to start. Super excited to see the level up in teams this year. Like, man, teams that were just like, novice to maybe intermediate level in the last couple years really leveled up and made the cut. And it was just super exciting. I loved it. I loved seeing the increase in performance and skill in our teams, and to have so many teams to play at that level. I mean, what was it? Maybe 5, 6 years ago, we had like 40 freestyle teams, and we maybe had, 5 to 7 highly competitive teams, and everybody else was a newer freestyle team. And this year we had 100 124 teams, I think it was 124 teams and you 20 to 30 of them that were just in the mix. So it was phenomenal. It was so fun. It was thrilling. I loved the performance elements. I loved the music. Also, like the last time we really saw a contest like this, it was either virtual and Freestyle Crown, or it was the Invitational where they didn't get to choose their own performance music. So I loved seeing the people had planned and made their costumes and had the great music and figuring out. I understood all the themes. I felt very proud of myself because a lot of the times I'm like, not in on pop culture or behind the times or whatever, and I don't know what they're talking about. But I felt like they did a great job of explaining what the themes were and showcasing the themes to the judges. So freestyle by far my favorite part. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I thought the finals on Sunday was thrilling. It was exciting. There was great energy in the air. People were laughing, people were crying, people were shaking. It was just great. I loved every bit of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that worked out for Sunday, and I know that I think we explained to people that that was kind of a
In
last minute
addition,
push that Dre and I had for Kat to try and find time in the schedule to do it. Next year, we're definitely going to have that in mind as we head into the schedule, so that we make
yeah,
sure that we can do that something similar anyway again. Um, and maybe make it, I don't know, maybe make it so that more people have the opportunity to watch. We'll just figure it out. We'll see what the schedule. I don't want to say something with Kat behind me going, "What? How can
consequences.
we do that?" But anyways, it was kind of a last when I say last minute, meaning like a month and a half beforehand, we were talking
Yeah,
about it. But in terms of scheduling, that's last minute for
that is
UpDiff.
very last minute. Yeah,
Last
And
minute for cat.
last minute for Cat, yeah.
yeah.
So we'll figure that out next year a little bit further in advance. But yeah, that was no surprise, I guess, guys, that the favorite part for Dre and I is
It was
freestyle.
freestyle.
But We hope that you enjoyed UpDiff if you went. We hope that you enjoyed this podcast, hearing about it, and maybe we motivated you to come next year if you didn't make it this year. Get out there, earn your points. We hope to see you on an UpDog field somewhere soon. And
if
in the
you're lucky enough
meantime,
to get one of these bracelets, be
yeah,
kind to each other.
be kind to yourself and
What
Be
up,
kind to
dog?
your dogs and your animals.
there it is. All right, guys. See you next time on the Sweet Spot.
Yo, you heard the buzz, heard the word on the street. Up dog challenge, it can't be beat. It ain't just fetch, it's a very special game for the dogs and the people. We all shout its name, whether it's a roller or in the air. My canine companion doesn't really care. We're in the up dog zone now. Got that laser focus, making every throw an epic high flying bonus. What's up, dog? We're on the field, sun in the sky, with my best friend soaring, teaching that just to fly. It's the up dog jingle, so come get in the mix for the ultimate teamwork and all the best tricks. From throw and go to freestyle, we're bringing the heat. We're fun, helpful, and a friendly team that can't be beat. So if you love your pup and you love to see the disc really spin, come on down to Up Dog, where the good times begin.
Yeah, where the good times begin.